Wow. Welcome to Target, the show for masculinity and success. And I'm your host, Atlas Altman, former military commander turned best-selling author, now bringing you a podcast that you can use. We're sharing stories from highly successful men so that you can figure it out for yourself. Welcome. This is Targeted. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Targeted. Today I have someone that is fully experienced, amazing stories. I've listened to his stories on multiple large platforms, but today I got him in the studio. I picked him up at the airport probably about an hour ago. We've been talking ever since, and he's just blowing my mind. So today in the studio, I have with me Nick. Nick, you want to say hello?
Hi, everybody. My name is Nick, obviously, Nick Middaugh. I am a male CSA survivor advocate. I talk about a lot of stuff. Spent about a decade in civil service, spanning fire, corrections, public safety, spent a little bit of time at the State Department. Recovering alcoholic. I got a long list of stuff going on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of it.
Yep.
So CSA, child sexual abuse survivor. That's what CSA stands for. And a lot of people don't know it. And that's part of your message is to get more people aware that, you know, it happens. It happens more. Unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. As a CSA survivor, how have you, and you're in the public light now. Mm-hmm. How has that been for you?
It's been tough, man. Honestly, it's been overwhelmingly positive. I'm absolutely blown away by the amount of support that I've gotten. It's been so surreal. But in other ways, it's almost like a use case for what like mass disclosure looks like for somebody. And that brings a lot of positive, but it also brings a lot of like super real behind the scenes, just tough emotions to try to grapple with. So we talk about like male specific CSA. We're looking at an occurrence rate of 1 in 6 to 1 in 4 by age 18. That's in the U.S. Okay. On average, these boys are not going to talk about that for 20 years. It took me 19 years before I finally spoke up.
19. Wow.
It's a long time in silence. I'm not unique in that. What is unique is I've been able to get on here, different platforms, talk about that. It's possible. But you take those numbers and you stack it against the current population of the U.S. I mean, 350 plus or minus however many millions of illegals. Yeah. And you end up with not thousands, not hundreds of thousands. You end up with millions of dudes who are going to experience this, or they have. You know, that's 16 to 25% of our population by 18. And these are our young men that we're handing the key to whatever leadership roles, whatever functions they provide in society. Yeah. And they're running a gauntlet that they shouldn't have to. Mm. You know, so at the very least, like what I can do with my story is get out here and try to, share that positivity. And it doesn't have to be what I'm doing. Like, just go talk to somebody. Because we're underrepresented, we're lacking research, and we need more awareness.
Yeah, I mean, I've been faced with it a couple times on the show where someone will introduce a story, and I just don't know how to talk to it because, I'm not the professional. I mean, I don't know how to help. So immediately I shut down. Do you experience that a lot when you tell people?
A little bit.
Shut down or?
The thing is, it's such a, unfortunately, it's still very heavily stigmatized. It's one of the main barriers to disclosure. Yeah. And I've experienced people that just don't know. Yeah. So I don't hold it against them. That's fine. Like, I'm the one that's immersed in this data. It's my story. Like, they don't understand. That's fine. That's okay. And I've encountered like outright negative from it as well.
Yeah, that's what I expected. It's like the outright negative. That would scare me, because, I have stuff and we all carry stuff. Right. But like whenever I'm telling somebody, I expect them to be like, what? Or wow. And when they are just silent with me, I'm like, all right, did you even want to hear what I said? Right. But for this one, it's unique because you're, like you said, not a lot of people are talking about it. Mm-hmm. But they need to. And especially if they've been through it. Yep. 20 years, dude. 20 years is a long time.
It's a long time.
Where'd you get that statistic? Where did that come from? Who's studying that?
So I ended up, I made some pretty cool connections after, but what initially started, a little bit of a long story, but what initially started my kind of foray into this advocacy was I was at the time like kind of newly sober, been sober from alcohol for 2 years. I'm back in college, decided I wanted to go for mental health, and one of my courses was a research design course where you learn how to write research proposals, do literature reviews, all that fun stuff. And it coincided with when I finally, after 23 years of reticence specific to my parents, because my parents never found out, coincided with that disclosure. So I decided to write this paper in my course, no plans to make it public at the time.
Right.
But I wrote a paper about it. And I'm coming through data from Weiss, from there's a PhD candidate that I'm friends with now out of Australia.
Nice.
Mr. Paul Wiles, he's a research fellow. He's doing awesome stuff. He's one of the leading experts in this field.
Yeah.
And combing through that data, I can't give you all the citations. It's in the book. It's in the research that I published. But it's shocking. And a lot of it's 2019, 2011, 2013, 2024, 2022. These are recent studies. It's emerging.
Yeah.
And, to kind of go back to that, how do we talk about this, especially when you're almost getting stonewalled? I've had, and I don't spend a whole lot of time in it, but if you go look at my comments on Softball and Underbelly, for example, there's people that are calling me an abuser. 90% of it's positive.
Yeah.
But there's that 10% that hangs out that kind of represents that stigma.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, this guy abused his kids. Oh, this is just experimenting, which is not what it was. And just all sorts of negative things sob story, looking to sell a book, looking to cash in,
but
all
you don't
this
have
stuff.
a book yet.
No, I got one, but I've got another one that I'm working on. But that's the thing is it's tough. And to try to break through that, when it's overtly negative, it's okay, I don't really have a whole lot of time for you. I'm not going to sit here and argue. If you want to approach me and have a conversation, that's different.
That's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. No, 90% of the things that these people say online, they're not going to say to my face.
They hide right behind that screen or that keyboard, whatever they're hiding behind.
On that keyboard warrior path.
I feel sorry for them, but all right, I want to go back to you're doing the research. You found this data. Is that when you were I got to do something? When did you start to take that first step?
Yeah. So I've kind of always wanted to be an author. I didn't know that I would be an author for this.
Yeah.
I was more into fiction. At one point I wanted to write out my story like a memoir and just felt like too much ego at the time. But it was after getting all of that data and I got an A. I got a 98% of the paper.
Oh, sure.
It's a very difficult course.
Yeah.
And
it's a very difficult story.
Right. It's true. Yeah.
So the personal approach that you probably took with that paper, it was personal.
Yeah.
So I can see that totally. Why wouldn't you get a good grade on that? But even if you didn't, you got a great experience.
Yeah.
All right. Let me stop you. Your book. What's the name of your book?
Yeah, so it's the current book is called Suffering in Silence, Male Childhood Sexual Abuse. That's a book I ended up, it was a memoir at one point, talking about service, talking about fire, corrections, all that stuff. And then eventually I kind of woke up one day and I'm like, this is too much ego for me. And if I'm going to write about something, I just did this paper. I just disclosed this to my mom and dad.
Yeah. How'd they take it?
Dude, it was rough.
It was
so rough.
Because did they feel here's the reality? Putting myself in your parents' shoes. If my kid told me that and I didn't know about it, I'd feel betrayed and untrusted. Yeah. But I would still love my kid. You know what I mean? I would still be all right, now I get it. What can I do now? I'm sure that was the response, but still, it's got to be hard. How did they react?
Yeah, it was. And I've talked about this before a little bit, but you got to realize I'm coming from a place of I spent so many years in silence, and this shit was playing through my head every day. I never repressed it. And when I finally worked up the courage to tell my mom and dad, I had played this game in my head over and over for years.
Yeah.
I'm the protagonist. I'm in a setting in my living room with my mom and dad. They're there, and I'm saying all the right things, and I'm being a statesman.
What are the right things? That's right. Hard. That probably took a long time for you to put together.
I ended up, because I was so concerned about not being able to get the words out, in a way that I thought would comfort them, because my fear was they never found out. They're going to feel it's going to hurt them.
Wow.
And that's the reality of disclosure when you tell somebody you love.
Yeah.
The easiest way I can put it, how that conversation went, it felt like I pulled this knife out of my fucking chest and stabbed it right into my mom's. And
wow.
I wrote this paper to them, like a letter, because I didn't think I would be able to talk about it. And she's reading it, and she kept saying, like, can you just talk?
Yeah.
Can you just talk to me? Like, I don't want to read this. I want you to talk to me.
Sure.
And she's sobbing. And I watched the world that she thought that she knew with me, break. Like a freight train hitting some glass, just shattering. And, my dad was not really much better. I mean, it was hard. It was heavy. It was a long conversation. But all those fears that I had about telling them were completely false. Yeah. They still love me.
Absolutely.
They supported me. They asked me, one of the first things they asked me was, what can we do?
Yeah.
And that's...
Did you expect that? Did you expect that response?
I
like, you know, acceptance, but then, immediate, almost. It was probably quicker than you expected, wasn't it?
It was. It was.
I think you talked about that on one of your shows.
Yeah, it was surprising. And that's something about overcoming your fears, especially for other dudes out there who had something that happened to them, like they were sexually abused when they were a child, whether it was an adult or a peer. A lot of that fear is like, what if I say this and then they don't love me? They think I'm gay. They think I'm this, or they judge me. And by the end of that conversation, I felt like this weight had just lifted off of me. Like just years of just false belief, all this negativity in my head. Yeah. Completely false. Now, the reality of that, the thing that people don't talk about, like everybody in mental health is like, no, you need to disclose, you need to go get services, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to get positive coping skills. I'm like, that's all good.
Yeah. But
it's not sold in reality. The reality is, after you disclose, I mean, I left that weekend, I went back into the pits.
Yeah.
Because
revisited.
I felt guilty.
Yeah.
And I felt so much shame for doing that to my parents. Reality, that's not rational. It's the emotional.
No one talks about that shit, though. No one's talking about that.
No. And the thing is, disclosure is the entry fee to growth. That's when, you get it out there. You can't take those words back. No matter what happens, your relationships are going to be altered. People are going to see you different. Yeah. Positive, negative. People won't believe you. People will minimize you.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter what you do. That's going to happen.
Right.
It doesn't matter what happened either. That's also going to happen. So, you're either living with the truth and it's out, or I think there's a Bible verse that says, what's done in the shadows will come to light, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's something along that line. Yeah. And if you bring it to light, it goes much better usually, but there's still a process in between, the expectation that you have and the expectation that happens, where you have to, like you said, you dove back into it. So
yeah, you get back in the pits and you got to fight your way out.
Let me ask you this. So having that happen, and now having, that conversation with your parents, and being a father, how do you talk to your kids? Have you talked to your kids about this? And how do you talk to them? Like I'm not talking about your personal struggle. I'm talking about like, you want to protect them.
Yeah.
How does that work from your perspective?
Right.
How are you different than say other people because of the experience that you have?
Yeah. So with lived experience comes a certain caliber of perspective, especially in this field where we have such a high occurrence rate, both men and women. I speak mostly for the male cohort. I've never been a female. I don't know what that is like. If we can join arms, if we can join arms and tackle this together, let's do it. But dude, I mean, the way that I talk to my sons about it is mirrored a lot by what I wish the conversations were with me. It's not to throw shots at my parents. They didn't know.
Yeah,
they did the best that they did. This is the 90s. Like, it is what it is. But I think the best thing that you can possibly do, because this is where we get into the dichotomy of too much vigilance, which saps childhood innocence, which is beautiful. Yeah. And we need to let kids be kids for as long as we possibly can. Yeah. And then there's the other end of not talking about it enough and not fostering an environment where your kids feel comfortable to come to you when something happens. So your conversation with your children is going to be based on a number of factors. What are they in public school, private? Like, there's a lot of things that go to it, but mostly age, right? The conversation I have with my 7-year-old about this is going to be a lot different than the conversation I have with my 4-year-old. Yeah. Based on what they're able to process and what is appropriate. And attached to that is, I want them to be kids for as long as possible. Yeah. And it's really easy for me to go too far into the vigilance aspect of it, where I don't want them hanging out with other people and other kids and stuff like that. And that's normal to an extent, but even more so having been through this.
Yeah. I don't like my kids hanging out with other kids, man. Yeah. I just don't. I mean, and I had a friend of mine, and his name is Joe. He has daughters. He's like, my daughters will never go over to anyone else's house ever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, bro, that's sheltering them. I mean, they're gonna go crazy when
it's the other part adults. Of that, yeah.
And so there's a fine balance. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to ask you about that, because I'm sure that's the next thing that you're playing out.
Yeah, so I'm actually trying to put together a CSA toolkit, so to speak, to throw up on the website. Because my website, it's a lot of resources geared towards survivors. There is a CSA toolkit that I have from Bergman Legal, and that's pretty good. It's got a lot of resources. It's got information on how to talk to your kids and stuff like that. But
is it free?
It is. It is.
Yeah, we'll put the link in our show notes so that people can get to it.
That'd be great. My biggest thing with that, though, is your kids. Mm-hmm. The most important thing for me when talking about inappropriate touches with my 7-year-old is like, dude, I love you so much. Yeah. There is nothing you can say to me or do that will prevent me from loving you. Yeah. Right? If something happens, you gotta come talk to me. Yeah. And phrasing that in like little kid language and like trying to help him understand, like, it's tough. It's not easy. These conversations are not easy. And a lot of parents don't want to accept that this exists, because then you have to accept the propensity for it to impact you.
Yeah. It sucks. Good people, they're everywhere, man. Yeah. You can't have one without the other. So protecting that's
especially online. But yeah.
All right, man, let me pull away from this a little bit. We talked about you write another book, I want to go into that, because it's not something we hear too much of, and it's super interesting. Mm-hmm. So can we talk about your COVID-esque experience? Like, during COVID, when everyone was like sheltered and hunkered, you were fully involved in a lot of nefarious activities that you were trying to stop. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, so late 2019, I'm transitioning out of juvenile corrections. That just, I had spent 4 years in corrections combined at that point. I'm like, I need something different. Yeah. I see a posting for a officer position with Sparrow Hospital down in Lansing, Michigan, right in the capital.
That's a big hospital, by the way.
It's huge. 2,000 to 3,000 employees any given moment, 800 dedicated beds. You've got an emergency department that is huge. And it's just a massive operation down there. It's major hospital, level 1 trauma center, all that stuff. And honestly, going into it, put on the uniform, I've been there before. I seen the dude at the podium. I'm like, oh, that looks like a chill job, whatever. I can do that. And I apply, I get selected to go to security testing. There's like 60 of us. We show up, different groups. We do the security testing. Yeah. I score good enough that I get an interview. Do the interview good enough that I get hired, right? Mm-hmm. And that's late 2019, December. Okay, we got no idea that COVID's about to hit. I'm going to try out this hospital public safety gig, right? Okay. When I got hired, and even when I'm going through like the training, which was a week and a half of DT, nothing extensive, like just enough to get yourself in trouble.
What does DT stand for?
Defensive tactics, right? So you're doing HRFG, which used to be PPCT. You're doing
all those acronyms.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a knife fighting, hand-to-hand combat essentials, self-defense.
It's a lot of compliance controls.
Yeah, it's making sure that you can control somebody if they do something bad.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You're doing ground avoidance, ground escape. You get maced in the face. Yep. Like that whole lovely experience. Yeah. And I get through that, and I'm like, okay. I start my FTO period, and
it's
field training officer.
Yep.
Sorry, it's basically you're accompanying one of the salts. He's showing you the ropes. He's teaching you the job. You're trying to sponge it up, and I become a newly minted officer, and I start working second shift, which is not what I initially got hired for. It was a little change up there last minute, but in any case, the job was just. I thought I was going to be a low budget version of Paul Blart. That was not the case.
Mall cop.
Exactly. You see all these shows where you've got like these TV dramas. We're in the hospital and like there's these overweight security dudes and they get thwarted by the psych patient or whatever it might be, and then a doctor comes and saves the day.
Not happening.
Not reality. It's complete fiction. That's why it exists in Hollywood, right? So I get my hand-me-down uniform. I get my hand-me-down body armor, my tool belt.
Yeah.
Baton, OC, no lethals.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue baton lethal, but whatever. Don't get caught on camera swinging that shit overhead.
Yeah, might happen.
But I found myself in an environment that we had at best on good days about 11 officers on the shift to deal with all of these people in a hospital that gets over 1 million in foot traffic annually.
Wow.
In downtown Lansing. You're dealing with gunshot wounds, stab wounds. You've got a big homeless population down there.
Yeah, let me paint the picture a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because Slim Shady doesn't, right? If you've ever seen anything in Hollywood, a lot of the stuff is filmed in Detroit. And a lot of the bad parts actually come out of the Detroit, Lansing area. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of crime there, guys. A lot of crime. It's not a place where you would think it's not Chicago, but it's really damn close.
Yeah,
really
it's not good. The Lansing's finest LPD, shout out Seth. They're busy, round the clock.
Yeah,
and they bring all their problems to us. So, a little shout at them. But I did my first real takedown, like real shit takedown. About 2 weeks on the job. I'm a cherry. I don't know anybody. I got familiar with it 2 weeks in. And by that point, I mean, it was happening already. I was watching it go down. I was just a new guy. Yeah. I wasn't the first one there. I got a guy that I call Michael Foxtrot, old deputy from Florida, up there doing the job. Yeah. And awesome guy, great mentor, love him to death. And, I'm a new guy. Everybody talks shit to the new guy. You're learning that, and the reason for that is because the average turnaround there is about a month for new officers, because people don't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
You show up, you're fresh-faced, you go through this training, you get a little confidence, and then you get on the job and you're like, oh, my ego just got shattered because you're dealing with shit that you didn't think you'd be dealing with, right?
Yeah.
And he approached me the one day after I'd been on the job for a bit, responding to stuff, meeting people, and he said, hey, man, why you want to do the job?
Yeah.
Like, what are you about? Who are you? What's your name? All this other stuff. And I left that conversation with something he said to me. He's like, I'm going to put you first through the door. Every shift we work together, if you are working, you're going to be the first one through the door. You're going to be the first one making contact, and I'm going to be right there with you the whole way.
Yeah, that's a tough position,
especially
for a new guy.
I was fucking nervous as shit.
Yeah,
because I'm like shaking in my boots. I'm like, oh my God, now there's this pressure. Like, here's this guy I'm trying to emulate, and he wants me to be the first one. And it was the best possible thing that could have happened. I'm so grateful for that because, there we are, second week, and there's a psych patient. He's been petitioned, which means we're legally not allowed to let him leave.
Yeah.
We have to stop him. We don't have a choice. And dude's fit. I'm like 230. I'm in better shape than I was, but this is still the alcoholic days. So I'm sluggish. I'm not on my A game. And like he said, I'm the first one there.
Yeah.
He's coaching me. And I just remember so much, like he's talking to me and he is so calm and I'm like so nervous.
Yeah.
And here's this situation going on. This dude's threatening the medical staff. He's breaking shit. And Michael Foxtrot goes like, hey, man, he's going to come through this door. When he does, this is what you're going to do. You're going to grab that arm. We're going to try to pin him, and we'll go from there, right? And that's what happened. He came through the door. I threw a knee into his common peroneal that I don't even remember throwing in the moment. Yeah. And I just remember him saying something like, oh, you're kneeing me now? Like, you're hitting me? And we kind of did like a little circle dance, end up bracing him. And so we're on the wall. And again, Mike Foxtrot, he's on the other arm. He's telling me while we're bracing this dude, okay, all right, get ready. We're going to take him down. Calm as could be. Yeah. And I'm like kind of losing my shit a little bit. I get that adrenaline dump. I mean, I've been in corrections, fire, whatever, but this is different. This is new.
It's a different stress.
And so I did an armbar takedown. We put him in cuffs, wheeled him back to the psych area, did what we had to do, strapped him down. And that was one of the real shit moments of that job. I'm like, oh, this is more than just checking people in and searching people. Yeah. And it got crazier from there, especially with COVID hitting because we were so short-staffed. To give the viewers an idea of what that environment is actually like, you know, you have to have a pretty extensive background check to get in there. They're choosy. They don't just pick your, you know, warm-blooded security dude who's sitting outside of a pot shop,
yeah,
right?
You guys had about 100 people applying for that job, if I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, we had about 60 because I asked after I got in. I was curious. Yeah.
And I was like, hired like 6.
They hired 6 of us. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good percentage. That's a low percentage of people that actually got it through the door.
Which actually, it made me, you know, I'd see these new guys come in, and people that physically capable. Yeah. You think they're going to stick. Yeah. And after a month or two, they're gone. I just never understood that because you already crossed like a pretty significant barrier to even be employed there. Yeah.
Why do you think they quit though?
Well, I mean, I can tell you some of the stories.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just did.
If you don't have the mentality, yeah, like if you're not like you come in there with ego, it's gonna get shattered. Yeah. If it's not the job, it's gonna be us, because we look at you and we're not looking at your accolades from previous. This is a new environment, right?
Yeah, it's a new stress.
A lot of solid dudes come in there, like a lot of former law enforcement, a lot of former military, great at the job. But it's a different environment. You have to be able to adapt. It's not different rules of engagement. You're abiding by HIPAA. You're dealing in the medical field. It's just different. Yeah. I think a lot of people just don't understand what they're getting into. And then they get into it and they start seeing death, trauma. Yeah. You know, I wheeled in a gunshot wound victim one time. He got dumped off at the front of our hospital, and made me think about how his friends just so easily sped right off as soon as he was inside. But I'm working static post up front. You're searching people. It's like the airport, and we hear this loud noise outside. I go out there. Here's a dude. He's been shot somewhere up in here. Leaking all over the place.
He's bleeding pretty bad, huh?
Yeah, I had to wash his blood off my uniform. It was only 3 hours into the shift. I had another 5 to go. That's the reality of the job. Like, you do something like that, it's not all over. You got to stick around and do your job. And I think that's part of what drives people away too. But I mean, I can see I'm right back in that moment of getting out there, getting him in the wheelchair, bringing him in, the noises he made, all that stuff.
They haunt you, probably.
A little bit, yeah.
I've had a lot of those stories come in, and you know, noises and association with those noises. It always brings back memories. And
yep.
It's not memories you want.
Yeah, because it's not like the movies either.
No.
You know,
there's no music playing in the background.
No.
You know, it isn't quick takes and the drama stops. Mm-hmm. It continues.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was after. Okay.
So that's leading up to COVID, kind of. I know I'm a little bit all over the place with it.
I liked it. So that's a good sample of a story. What are some of the lessons you learned on that job? Because you're a whole different environment away from where you thought you were, and that seems like a mindset shift that you had to make.
Yeah.
But what are some of the lessons you pulled from that?
Yeah. One of the big things that I like to pull away from it is you get into a new environment, doesn't necessarily matter what you used to do.
Amen.
if you're going to do the job and you want to do the job right, all I wanted to do when I got there and I realized like what's going on, I'm like, oh shit, I wanted to be a good officer. That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be there for my peers. I wanted to be dependent. I wanted to be dependable beyond everything else. Be a sponge. If you know shit, maybe it applies, but you're new. These people don't care about that. They're going to see you when it matters. They're going to see what you look like when your heart rate goes above 150 and you're dealing with some shit. Somebody swinging an IV pole at your head, or you got somebody that shows up with a knife, start cutting themselves. They're going to see the real you. So that ego, back it away. Be a sponge. Keep your head down. Try to learn. Find some guys that you emulate or that you want to emulate that will help you on the path. Do your best to sponge that shit up and run with it, man.
Yeah, I think we had George Hayworth on here talking about dying ego deaths. I think it was George. And what a good lesson for someone to learn. But you usually don't get to die the ego death until you experience something traumatic. Mm-hmm. But by this time, your trauma level's probably through the roof because you were a firefighter too, right?
Yep.
And you did a couple. You've done Department of the State jobs. Mm-hmm. So by this time, your experience when it comes to trauma has got to be a lot different than most people.
I've had a lot of brushes with it. Unfortunately, I mean, the first one started when I was 5, right? Or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
From there, I went and did something that probably didn't help, but I can say that it did now because I wouldn't trade my experiences for anything.
Yeah, what was that?
It took some time to get there, but by the time I landed with the specific nonprofit I was working for through the Department of State, that's when I really looked at my experience and I didn't have regrets. I saw it as something that helped me get to where I was.
Yeah.
And there's so many lessons that you can learn. You know, a lot of people, they go through trauma and you talk about like PTSD, right? Mm-hmm. There's something that Andy Stump said that I can't remember what episode he said it on, but he talks about it every once in a while. And it's this idea of post-traumatic growth. Because if you think about it, like PTSD is not new. I'm sure the cavemen had it, right? And that helped keep them alive and they helped keep them like surviving. And there's so many lessons you can learn from that, right?
Yep.
So by the time I'm, 27, I'm walking around I've been a firefighter. I've seen dead kids. I've seen just all matters. So when you're in a role where you're supposed to be the guy that fixes things and saves people and you can't do that, it's just another level of pain. And particularly when I got to Sparrow, it was a very formative year for me, because I can't recognize who I was before that experience. It's like part of me kind of died there, but then it grew back as I navigated this journey of like advocacy and like going to therapy and all this other stuff. It's hard.
Yeah.
But
did you find brotherhood in those teams that you were on? Did you find a closer connection because of the trauma that you experienced?
I did. Yeah, there's a lot of shared trauma there.
You still talk to those guys?
Yeah, we try.
Yeah.
We try. I think with just like any other community, like some of us are great at trying to organize things and get together, and some of us we just we get separated from the department, willingly, unwillingly, whatever it might be, and we don't reach out. And that's part of that stigma with like mental health, because we all went through some of the same stuff, some of it together, and that bond there is so thick because you get that loss of ego and you realize like, oh, I'm just here and like this is real shit and we're experiencing trauma together.
Yeah, you're experiencing trauma and you're getting over it. Yeah. So how did you get over it?
Right.
Tell me how you walked through that process and how you became the victor of trauma in that level. Because like I said, man, you've been through this whole journey of trauma, man. You've experienced different flavors, like 21 flavors of trauma. You know what I mean? And you're like, I've experienced it all. Now, how did you get over it?
Yeah, so
it still happened,
right?
Yeah, I mean, you're still experiencing it.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Yeah, so the biggest part for me was a a lot of that time where I'm bouncing around these different uniforms, like when I was in corrections, ballooned up to 275, was not taking care of myself. Full-blown alcoholic, high functioning, drinking and driving every night. At one point, I think it was a span of like 2 years. My memory's kind of fuzzy, but I would buy my allotment. That was me trying to have some level of discipline. So that would be like 3 Milwaukee Bests, like the 25 ounces.
Yeah, explain that. Were you giving yourself allotment? Were you giving yourself limits?
I was trying and failing to.
Okay.
Because I think with any other alcoholic, like you realize at some point you got a problem.
Yeah.
Whether it's external, internal, or spiritually.
So I mean, you tried alcohol and it didn't work.
No, didn't work.
What else did you try?
At one point, a little bit of muscle relaxers in there.
Okay.
A little bit of abuse with that when I was drinking.
How'd you get those? Or prescribed?
Prescribed.
They kept prescribing them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a back issue, probably from just not taking care of my body.
Sure.
And before you can look at pictures of me before I started drinking.
Yeah.
185, cut on the fire department, very physically fit. By the time I'm 21, 22, I'm damn near 300 pounds. And that's just from drinking that much. And so I had a lot of health issues. I was living with hypertension. I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't exercising. And that exacerbated a lot of the problems that I had going on with mental health. Getting through that trauma, my choice was to drink. Yep. I was a closet drinker. I wasn't hanging out with anybody.
So you're drinking by yourself.
Yep.
And then you're doing muscle relaxers.
Yep.
Were you combining those two?
On occasion, yeah.
And that didn't work.
No.
What else did you try? I mean, so you had that. You had a combination of that. So you had drugs. You had alcohol. You had a combination of those two.
Yep. And weed every once in a while.
And weed. All right. So what worked? What did you actually?
No substances gave me the kind of relief that I needed. Yeah. So it started with, when you talk about sobriety, getting sober doesn't fix your shit. It's the entry fee to growth, right? So I had to get sober from alcohol. I had to stop, grabbing pills. I had to stop smoking pot.
Yep.
And even then, if you're an addict, which is what an alcoholic is, you got to be careful with, what goes on with you and what you choose to allow in your orbit and what you choose to take. So the other thing that I really struggled with that I haven't talked about a whole lot yet is I had a near-death experience back in December 2023. Found out the hard way that I'm allergic to tree nuts.
Wow.
Never pursued pecans or walnuts as a snack before. I'm sorry, just not my thing.
Yeah.
And that day, it was the day after Christmas, one of my coworkers, super sweet lady, just amazing person, had gotten the security team a bunch of gift baskets for Christmas. And I'm like, oh, sweet, cool. I didn't bring a lunch today. There's like a 16-ounce container of homemade cinnamon sugar pecans in there.
Okay.
And I'm like crushing this shit because I didn't have lunch. I'm hungry, man.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cool. I got this stuff. I'm going to eat it. And it's funny because I actually texted her in the middle of like getting through that. And I'm like, I could eat a bucket of these.
Right.
45 minutes later, I'm in the ambulance. And
unable to breathe. Like, what were the symptoms? Like, how did you?
It's.
Walk me through that. I mean, you're eating one day and now you're in an ambulance, or you're eating. This is the same day. You're eating and then you're in an ambulance. Was there a process where you couldn't breathe? Like, how did someone? It's
someone
saw you turn colors and they're like, "I'm gonna get you an ambulance." And you're like,
yeah. So this is where I talk about like you got to be able to admit when you need help, and you have to be in tune with your body and know when to initiate help for yourself. Okay, like take an assessment of what's going on with you and make the educated decision or non-educated decision, whatever, to call for help. Okay, so I'm sitting there, I'm eating it, and then I get done, put the container back. I'm gonna do some clickety-clacking on the keyboard, and 10 minutes in, my eyes start itching a lot, and I'm like, oh, I got seasonal allergies, whatever. But it's like super, super bad. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go take a look. So I walk to the bathroom, I look in the mirror, eyes are swollen up. I'm like, oh shit, that's not normal. Get back to the office. Fortunately, we had some, and this is a little bit of my faith too, but we had some unclaimed Benadryl that was dropped off for an employee. And since we didn't know where, nobody claimed it, we didn't know who to give it to, so we just kept it in the security office. Worked out great, because then I saw that and I'm like, eat Benadryl. So I start throwing down Benadryl, and I'm sitting there, I'm trying to like monitor what's going on. Chest starts hurting.
Something went right.
What's that?
When you saw the eyes, you were like, something ain't right.
Something ain't right. Yeah.
Then your chest started hurting?
Chest started hurting.
Did you Google it at all? Or did you pull out your
phone?
Like,
I was typing on a keyboard. I'm like, what is severe allergic reaction? Like, I kind of knew a little bit. But again, I had no idea I was allergic like that. Every allergy test I've ever had, it never indicated that. Yeah. So, yeah, dude, walking through the symptoms, it's hard to tell what started first. My chest started hurting and my heart was beating like super fast. So now I'm trying to do breathing techniques to calm my heart rate down. Because at this point I'm thinking, okay, is this anxiety? But I got this clear, like, hey, my eyes are starting to swell up, so something's happening.
Yeah, that's nuts. What did you do for breathing? Were you trying, like, what did you try?
Just box breathing, just try to calm myself down. Yeah. Which is a technique we try to use at Sparrow to keep you under 150 when shit's going on.
For your heart rate.
Stuff like that.
Box breathing, if you haven't tuned into the show, if you don't know what that is, it's basically you breathe in for a period of time, you hold for a period of time, you breathe out for a period of time, and you hold for a period of time, and that's a box.
Yep.
So it's a good way to control your heart rate,
right.
Your breathing. Okay, yeah. So
I couldn't get it calm.
You couldn't.
It
ain't going down.
Couldn't get it calm. I didn't know it at the time, but my blood pressure when EMS arrived was like 160 over 98.
Wow.
Which is like super out of norm for me, even with the health issues I've had.
Yeah.
My throat, there's like a tingle in the bottom of my throat that I started getting, and it started getting harder to breathe. So at that point, I'm one of the leading members of the emergency response team.
Yeah.
Doing physical security and whatnot, and I called it on myself. Like, I initiated the process. I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I need help. And one of my good friends gave each other nicknames while we were working there. His call sign was Overlord.
Oh, nice.
And just having fun. And he shows up and he starts assessing me. He's on the ERT, and we're trying out blood pressure cuffs, and shit's whack, not working. And he's having me describe the symptoms, directing me to take another Benadryl, and it's not getting better.
Yeah.
And at one point, I'm like, dude, I think we need to call EMS because this is not like I'm starting to get a little bit scared.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to recognize that I no longer have control of the situation, so I need him to guide me through that. I need him to help me. And so he calls 911. He's on the phone with EMS. It's getting harder to breathe. Start getting a little bit of brain fog. Getting hard to talk. Having a hard time formulating sentences and getting words out. And by that point, he's on the phone with EMS. He's trying to ask me questions. I'm trying to answer them best I can. And it's not going good. And at one point, I'm like, okay, this is a secure facility. They're going to have to get through that door. Help me go outside, so if my throat does close completely, at least I'm outside and more accessible. Which is like a really, in the moment, I'm just floating in and out of being scared, but then little moments of like rational thought.
Yeah.
Go outside, EMS shows up, they start working on me, get me in the back of the ambulance, and we're off to the hospital. Pump me full of steroids, get me back to baseline while I'm there. And ER doc is, by the time I leave, telling me like, dude, you're very lucky that you started taking Benadryl and that you had somebody there, because if not, like, you might not be here.
Yeah, you might have died.
And being in the back of the ambulance is when it really, it's kind of funny to say, like, I knew things were bad.
But that's when it escalated.
That's when it really, I'm like, oh, this is real. Like, this is real. And I can't do anything about it. Because in the uniform world, like, you feel like you have a vote.
You feel like you have a little control.
Yeah.
And then you don't.
You don't, but you feel like it, right?
You like to maintain that. But then whenever you lose control, you're in an ambulance.
Yep. yeah, exactly.
Like, well, I guess this ain't going to be the day I thought it was going to be. Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you tie that back to tree nuts? The doctor was like, well, what did you do different? You're like,
Yeah, basically, he asked me what I ate. I told him it was really the only thing other than like breakfast. I had some eggs and standard breakfast.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I can't even remember now what I ate, but that was the only thing that was out of norm for my diet. So they sent me to get tested and came back like, sure as shit. All right, here's your EpiPens. Here's some steroids just in case. And that week after, I'd been up to the doctor's office probably 4 times, and this is how I got into Lexapro. I was presenting feeling like I wasn't getting better because that shit really takes a toll on your body. I was just so tense. And they're like, hey, we can try muscle relaxers. And I'm like, I've done that before. I'm good. Had enough self-control. At this point, I'm sober from alcohol for a couple of years. I'm trying to take care of myself. Don't want to do that. The other alternative was Lexapro. And I'm like, you know what? I got PTSD. I got anxiety. Like, let's give it a try. I'll try medication.
now, is that mental health medicine? Then
Yeah.
Lexapro is it's on par with something that's chemically designed to make you feel better, like mood wise.
Yeah. So it's supposed to, from what I understand, it's one of those serotonin something inhibitors, SSRIs, like the acronym that gets thrown around a lot. So it's supposed to balance your mood. It's supposed to help your serotonin levels and, make things less unhappy.
But it's addictive, isn't it?
I think it can be for sure, especially if you're an addict like me, right? Alcoholic, abused other drugs in the past. They started me on a low dose, 5 milligrams. Fast forward 3 months, my marriage is in turmoil, which I'm not going to talk about too much, just because we're not quite ready to enter that. But making a lot of poor choices, and I'm crushing up 30 to 40 milligrams, sometimes more, 50, 60 every day, putting it on my tongue, and just numbing myself.
So it numbed you?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you were in a separate environment, and then it would come back into like reality, and be like, I need more?
A little bit. It was interesting because at first, like, it made the chest pain go away. I wasn't tense anymore. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is great.
Yeah.
And just that addictive side of me, I want more. This feels good. I want more.
You said earlier that you were telegraphing. So let's walk through that process. When did you really decide I need to tell the doctor something that maybe isn't the whole truth, so that I can continue feeling like this? Because if I'm in your shoes and I'm feeling better and my life isn't so good right now, I'm going to try to probably talk to the doctor about that.
Right.
But if this medicine that I'm taking is making me feel better, why wouldn't I want to continue taking it?
Right. Exactly.
Is that how you felt?
Yeah. And that, I picked up some unhealthy habits being a drunk.
Unhealthy.
That applies.
Besides drinking.
So you get real good at manipulating people. You get real good at making excuses for yourself. A big one for me was I've been through all this stuff. Like, how dare you come at me for my drinking? You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes, which is completely immature and wrong. But that is almost what translated there, that manipulative nature of it. Because I would tell them, at one point I told them, I think, like, oh, I lost my bottle. It's traveling. Don't know where it is. And it was in my back pocket. At home, I'm on the phone with them. Yeah. They prescribed me more. Oh, I want to try a higher dose. I'm not throwing the old pills away. I'm keeping them. Oh, I want to try 20 milligrams instead of 15, right? You go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20, and you start crafting excuses.
Yeah.
To support your habit. And that's what I was doing, because my world in that time, like, I went through that, and it was unexpected. People might look at that kind of event, that kind of medical event, and be like, oh, it's not that bad. Or like, oh, it's not as bad as like getting shot at or whatever it might be. But the unexpected trauma that came from that was that full loss of control. I couldn't do anything other than eat Benadryl and wait for EMS to show up, right? And hope that they helped me. So I felt like I couldn't do anything.
Wow.
So my life's a mess. I got these pills. I'm going to craft whatever excuse I got to make and spin it and be manipulative to try to get more and support my habit. And it culminated in a moment where I was making a lot of poor choices. That's still me. That dependency does not excuse who I was. I'm all about ownership and recovery. And I just broke. And me and my wife were not doing great at the time. I had said goodbye to my kids at that point. That's where we were going.
Yeah.
I was doing things that made it impossible for them to be in the home. I'm not proud of that. It's hard, but that's where we were. And I had this moment where I went into work and just completely broke down with a coworker. Like, man, I feel like, I'm not at risk. I'm not acting on these thoughts, but I just feel like putting a gun in my mouth, man, because it's just, and I'd been there before. So I knew something wasn't right. And I kind of had this moment where I woke up, I'm like, man, like I'm making all the wrong choices. Like I got sober from alcohol, but here's this other thing that's going on.
Yeah.
And I need to get back to stability. So it began with conversation with my wife. She's the strongest person I know. Stood by me through all of it. I gave her every reason to leave, and she's been nothing but a teammate to me since. And it's through her support, my family's support, that I initiated a taper off of that. And I'm, even when I was on softwood underbelly, cleared hot, I was still working against that, trying to get off of it. I had tapered from the high dose I was doing all the way down to 2.5 milligrams a day, completely on my own.
Yeah. Just backstepping because you
just
knew you had to.
backstepping.
Internally, you felt like you had to, right?
Yeah.
Is that the mindset you had?
Yeah.
I got to do this.
I got to get off of it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
One thing we don't talk about too often on the show, but I love to talk about it, is whenever you have a good woman in your life and she's going to be there to support you because you guys paired together to do life. I like that testimony, man. That's good. You just gave your wife a lot of credit that was probably due.
She is one of the main reasons why I'm here.
Yeah.
Today,
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's such a blessing to have a woman like that. It makes a strong man. Makes a very strong man.
Yep.
So, thanks for sharing that.
Stay with us as we stay on target with another awesome episode coming up next. We'll see you there. And subscribe to Targeted Now. As an ambassador to buckedup.com, I get to give you our special discount. That's Atlas25 when you go to buckedup.com to get that special discount. Only for our listeners, Atlas25. Go to buckedup.com now. This is Atlas Altman. I am sitting here with my computer doing the final edits. My dog's just chilling out, and I'm looking for a Fight Scrub commercial. And instead of just finding one, I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on it because, hey, it's late, and why not listen to me since it's my show? This is something I found through a gym that I go to, and the guy who owns it, the guy who was on my show, is he's an amazing guy, and he tells a story on the show. But where this is a natural product. It is a clean product, not chemicals, and it helps you with anything that you do that you need to sanitize. So for me in MMA, when I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I can do into my really old age, when I'm broken, I can do Jiu-Jitsu, and I'll keep doing it. I get really sweaty, and then I don't want to smell like other dudes when I come home, and see the family and see my dog and all that. So I spray this stuff on me. I get in a car. My car doesn't smell bad, but then I feel cleaner. I'm not going to get any skin infections. It's an amazing product. It has different flavors of flavors. It's got different smells, but you can put it on your skin. You can spray it all over your clothes. You can spray it all over your gis. You can throw it in your gym bags. It's awesome. But if you play football and you have pads, it's awesome for that. Muay Thai, whenever I do Muay Thai or boxing, I take my boxing gloves off. I spray the crap out of it. It's a good thing to have. If you're using Clorox or whatever, this is a great alternative. I've been using it for a while. Highly recommend it. There's a link in my bio if you want a discount. Please use my link.
I do this for people so that they can get the products that I use. This is one of them. Check it out. Fight Scrub. Check it out.